Sure. My name is Michael Kitces. I am Chief Financial Planning Nerd at Kitces.com, where we write and speak and teach in all ways for the financial advisor community. I'm also the head of planning strategy for Buckingham Wealth Partners and co-founder of XY Planning Network, AdvicePay, New Planner Recruiting, and FP Pathfinder, all companies serving the advisor community. Yeah, absolutely. We've been doing a lot of research over the past couple of years into how advisors actually conduct their financial advice processes, right? All the way down to the time that we actually spend in various parts of the advice process, from meeting with clients, preparing plans, delivering plans, helping clients implement. It's given us a lot of interesting perspective on what does and does not actually drive efficiency in advisory firms. And we found some pretty counterintuitive stuff that we'll be talking more about at the session, from the fact that we actually find technology does remarkably little to improve the efficiency of advisory firms. When we get better technology, it does matter, but only because we tend to go deeper with our planning, not necessarily because we do it faster. The biggest drivers actually that we find around efficiency in advisory firms are much more about team structure, staff structure, the extent to which we delegate tasks off of our plate as advisors, let go of some of that middle and back office work, and really keep the front-facing portion of what we do with clients that really only we can do. We found a couple of other interesting angles as well. Doing planning more collaboratively with clients tends to actually drive up the efficiency. So think more conversations and fewer deliverables, as well as honing our own expertise. Right at the end of the day, as we move from kind of a product-based business into an advice-based business, the biggest thing that we have to sell at the end of the day is our expertise, or kind of the knowledge between our ears. So the more you stock the shelves, the more you have to sell, and can do so more efficiently. And so we see very strong correlations between just the expertise of the advisor, so professional degrees and designations, and the expediency of their planning process. So when we look broadly at the use of technology in the advisor space, there's kind of two themes that come up. The first is, a lot of us do struggle just to make the most of the technology that we have. And I think that's something that a lot of us kind of feel at a visceral level. Like, I know there's a bunch of features and things in there. Like, I don't even click into those menus because there's just a lot of stuff and it's really complex. Technology has sort of a general tendency to add features over time, and sometimes it produces what the technology world knows as software bloat. It's just like a lot of features, it gets a little bit overwhelming. And so there are definitely our training challenges that I think a lot of us feel as advisors, and particularly when we get down to our teams and whether our teams are fully utilizing the technology. Just a good rule of thumb, if you're not spending at least as much training the software after you buy it as you are on the software itself, you're probably underspending on the training it takes to actually get the most out of the tools. But the second thing that I would note really is this phenomenon that when we look at the role of technology, when technology enters the back office, opening accounts, trading accounts, there are some very direct efficiencies that come from it, right? Just any repeatable process that I can automate with technology saves me some time. But the nature of advice, when you really get down to the parts where we sit across from clients and deliver advice, I mean, one of the amazing things about advice is that it is unique to each client's circumstance. It's sort of the nature of advice, like specific to a client's needs and circumstances. And it's really something that's not actually conducive to technology efficiencies the way that we often think of it as. Now, technology can be great for doing a deeper analysis, a more sophisticated analysis, showing information to clients in new and better ways. And maybe that saves us time relative to brute forcing those calculations by hand in the spreadsheet, or hand making deliverables that we show to clients. But what we find over and over again when we conduct this research is that when we look at the advisors that adopt technology the most, they don't tend to do their planning faster. They tend to do deeper planning, more comprehensive planning. They may charge higher fees, so they generate a higher revenue on their time, but it doesn't necessarily make them faster. It just makes them better. To me, one of the most dominant trends that's playing out in our advisor space right now is this slow and steady shift from what was our roots for most of us, which was selling products. I started out my career selling variable universal life insurance, then I sold mutual funds, then eventually I sold managed portfolios. Now I live in a world of giving more comprehensive ongoing advice for clients. And we've always kind of paired advice and products together in many ways, but this shift from really going from product-based models to advice-based models is fundamentally different. We need different technology, right? Technology maybe that lets us go deeper and better, not just about being faster. And we need different service support for ourselves as advisors. So we see a growing trend towards outsourcing, towards delegation, towards virtual teams, not just driven by the pandemic, but hiring virtual assistants, hiring virtual paraplanners, outsourcing the incremental parts of our businesses so that we can spend our time on the few things that really drive the greatest impact. All of that comes from a reward. I didn't need to outsource virtual paraplanning when I only delivered a plan to get to a mutual fund sale or a life insurance sale. When I'm really actually building robust plans, though, and that's the center of the offering, suddenly the service support structure looks very different. So, ironically, while the industry has spent a lot of time talking about the rise of technology, and certainly I'm a big advocate of technology as well, I think one of the biggest trends you're going to see playing out in the coming years is the rise of more services to support advisors, not just technology. After 2 years of being shut off from the pandemic and, very little opportunity to interact with other advisors short of like social media and tweets and Facebook, to me, it's really energizing to come back together in person. Not just for the content at conferences itself. Obviously, I'm hoping people will join me in the session that I'll be delivering. But to me, the power of conferences really comes from the hallway conversations that happen between the sessions. Everything from, like I'm processing that speaker I just saw. Hey, what do you think? Are you doing what she talked about? Like, we're going to try that out. What was your experience? And just hearing what other advisors are doing, what's working for them, so that we can get ideas that we take home to our businesses. Most advisory firms at the end of the day, one or two big ideas in a year is all it takes to meaningfully change the trajectory of the entire business. And one of the best places that you get those ideas is when you go to conferences and you get to talk to other advisors doing other things and spark those ideas.